You might be thinking to yourself, Lily, where have you been? We haven't seen you in a while. What you been doing? Reading and apparently going through a recording slump.
My little Milky Way, shining where the dark can't stay. Don't say much. I hear you in the quiet anyway.
So this is probably going to be a reading vlog. Maybe. I don't know what we're doing anymore. Who am I? It is the summertime, and if you're not new here, that's thunder. I hope that picked up. If you're not new here, you know that I have my little depressy episodes during the summertime. It is so unbearably hot here. Like, it's incredibly hot. Make no mistake, I'm wearing a jacket just so that I have a top on for now. That's, YouTube appropriate or whatever. Anyway, all that to say, I hate this summer. I hate it so much. It's been over 100 degrees on a regular basis. I just have not been able to like really function. So, getting in front of a camera, let me just tell you a little something. I filmed making like my cover page for May in my reading journal, filmed it, edited it. All I needed to do was voiceover. Did I do that? No. Did I stop reading books? Also, no. Read 24 books in May. 24. Didn't tell you anything about it. Had a grand old time doing my little AANHPI month. Didn't tell you anything about it. Nothing. I wanted so badly to film it. Nope, gonna be bothered. I'm so sorry. So sorry. I am gonna have like a little quarterly wrap up. I think doing the quarterly wrap up is a little bit more manageable for me than trying to do it every month because I'm doing good with uploading anything. So, I've just been uploading a few shorts here and there of my little packing videos because I'm always selling something on Pango. Please check out the description below. My Pango is listed. I think the code is Lily Library 10 or something for $5 off. I don't remember what the code is, but I'll put it on the screen and the link will be in the description box. All that to say, I have still been reading books. I actually just started Sublimation last night, which is one of my most anticipated reads of the year. I'm super excited about it and already low key a little bit disappointed. I don't know, it's just not grabbing me, it's not hooking me. I'm not really sure like where we're gonna go with this. So we'll see. I have the physical book checked out from the library, and I am listening to it on audio. So I'm immersively reading, having a grand old time with my immersive reads. Like, that is the way to go. I've also been diving into more manga, and that has just been great, especially with the series A Sign of Affection, which I'm on like volume 5 now, I think. It's just been so much fun. Like, I just love that series so much, but I feel like I haven't talked to you guys in forever. Like, or not, I don't want to say organically, but like, not like in a vlog capacity. So, we need to get back on that because your girl is slacking. Although I have been pretty active over on Instagram. My Instagram is also linked down below. Same name, Lily in the Library, if you're curious and you wanted to go check that out. What is this video going to be? I don't know. It is Monday. It is Monday. I famously never start a reading vlog on a Monday. I usually start it on like a Wednesday or a Friday, and then I don't read all weekend. So let's see if we can actually check in every day. That's going to be my challenge to myself for this vlog. Let's see if we can check in every day and like have some progress every day. I'd like to read 3 books this week. So let's see. We can get 3 books in the vlog, 3 books read. It'll be a good week. Really quick, I just want to show something else that I've been doing. I am not an artiste, okay? Please don't judge me too hardly, but I did make this little painting. It's lace, or what, in my head. Like I said, I'm not an artiste, guys, but I had so much fun making this. I just used some gouache and had a great time, and now it's just sitting here in this disaster of a room that is still not organized and still has no rhyme or reason to a lot of things. But here we are. This is the raw life of me, and we are just living it day by day. If that's you, just out here trying to live your life, then this is the channel for you. Trust me. We are not aesthetic. We are not like, as badly as I would love to be like demure, cute little girl. That's not my life. That's not my life. And I'm gonna be honest with you, I'm too tired to pretend. If you're new, hi, hello. I'm Lily. I'm sorry that this is the first video that you're watching. Go watch a book haul. Go watch something more fun. Don't watch this video, but then come back to it and watch this video. Sometimes I'm actually funny. A lot of times I'm just tired and want to yap to you about books. So, if you want to listen to some book yapping, I do read across a lot of different genres. I think I read mostly thrillers. Like I said, I've recently been getting into manga like more heavily. And also, I am trying to, so this is like the year of me trying to define my reading tastes, really hone in what I like. I did have a previous video where I was doing this challenge to read books that I don't think I'll like and shocked myself. So if you want to check that out, I'll try to link it below. We'll see. We'll see if I remember to do that. So I am trying to read more than just thrillers. I have really branched out into romance. I have been loving romance, picking it up more and more, getting into manga, getting into some romantasy, getting into some fantasy, getting into some dark romance, also some horror. It's been a time. I guess I can tell you really quickly what sublimation is about, like what the premise. I don't listen, again, if you're new here, I don't really read synopsis. Like, I don't like, especially because I read a lot of thriller, I don't want to spoil anything. So I try not to read too much into the book because I find that spoilers will be like in the synopsis and stuff. And then it's like, oh, I already knew this was happening. So that takes away from it. But if I go into it blind, then everything is a surprise. This book is basically about immigration. And what happens in this book is you split when you immigrate. Like, our main character is from Korea and she immigrated to Korea, and she has two instances. So the instances are like the two people split offs. I don't know how to like really explain that. It's just imagine that you're one person. Like in this example, make a decision to go from Korea to the USA. And when you leave Korea, you have one life in the United States, but one life also stays in Korea. And those are two separate entities, two separate people, but also the same.
Same, but different. But still same.
It's kind of this big concept and a little bit hard to like explain slash grasp. If the book executes it well, I think this is going to be a 5 star. However, I can see the potential for this only being like a 3 or a 4 star if it is not executed well. And currently, my faith is waning because we're spending a lot of time like about modern day immigration and less about the whole sci-fi aspect of it. And while, yes, some of the points are important, we're also spending a lot of time on things that are actually happening in modern day, in the real world. And I don't know if that's integral to the story. Hopefully it is, and we're not harping on these things that like we're living in real life for no reason, but that will take away from the story if it's not like important to the story because what is you splitting like the difficulties of immigration as we're seeing it today don't necessarily have a whole lot to do with the splitting of the South. So I'm hoping we're gonna marry that in together and tie it together. There is a lot of interesting commentary, some things that I'm not sure like totally accurate's not the right word because this is a work of fiction. But just some things are a little bit, it's an interesting concept. It's an interesting opinion. We'll see how that goes. Hoping to have a good time with this. So far, there's been like some really weird parts, but nothing too like, I don't know how to explain it. It's very mundane is not quite the right word, but it's just slow starting. I'm only about 30% of the way through. I'm on page 100 at this point. Well, that's where I left off last night. So hopefully it's going to start picking up and I'll have something to report later. I don't know. While I'm reading that, I'm also reading, I have an omnibus out from the library of A Sign of Affection, volumes 4, 5, and 6. I just finished volume 4 a couple of days ago, so I'm going to go ahead and read volume 5 at some point, probably either this evening or tomorrow. I would like to finish it by Wednesday so that I can go ahead and get that returned to the library as I have some holds to pick up. And of course, I'm maxed out on my books. Really, you haven't missed anything except for all of the books I've been reading over the last month and a half-ish. Can't wait to do the quarterly wrap-up for that one because I know it's going to be super long. Also, I probably should film a book haul soon because I keep getting books inexplicably. Like, I keep telling myself stop buying books, but I don't listen. I don't listen. I'm not a very good listener to myself. Great listener for other people. Not listening to myself though. So I have been super utilizing my library as per usual, but because our library now is so much closer, it's around the corner, down the street, however you want to say it, is wonderful to be able to make a trip there once or twice a week. And I just need to stay on top of reading. Although, because I am reading so many library books, my physical TBR is suffering, and so are my ARC reads, which are not happening. I need to do an episode where I just read ARC books. But also the new update with Kindle. Okay, listen. I have a hand-me-down Kindle. It's like just on loan from my mom because I have not bought a new Kindle. I have never bought a Kindle for myself ever. Um, a couple years ago, we bought my husband a Kindle Fire. That's as close to buying a Kindle as I've ever gotten. And I didn't want to buy a Kindle for some time because I wasn't sure if I was going to use it. And then I started really reading ARCs, and my mom had a Kindle she wasn't using, so she let me use that. Except for since now Kindle has done this lovely update, I can no longer use that for my library books, and I think I can't use it to download anything else. So I can read whatever I have on there at the moment, but I can't read library books. I can't read anything else, which really grinds my gears.
And that, people, is what grinds my gears.
Because I am not about to go out and purchase a Kindle right now. Maybe for Christmas, maybe for my birthday, maybe in the near future. I don't know, but it's not going to happen anytime very soon. Let me know if you are also in the struggle bus with Kindle. And part of me doesn't even want to buy a Kindle now because of this, because it's like, oh, so we're really going to make it so you have to buy a new Kindle. Okay, I don't love that at all because I feel like they do the same thing with game systems. That's a whole other rant. Anyway, I would also like to film the mid-year freakout tag, which I may do today or tomorrow, just so that I can get that up, because I'd like to have a video go up this week aside from my little shorts. I think that's all I have for now. I will try to check back in when I have something else of note to discuss, or maybe not. Maybe I just feel like talking to you about books. Who knows? I don't know how much B-roll I'm going to get. Not really doing a whole lot. Not really going a whole lot of places because it's hot. Not really doing much because it's hot. Um, yeah, it's miserable. It really is miserable. I hate this time of year, but hopefully we're gonna get some rain and it's gonna cool off and I'll be in a better mood. I don't know. Who knows? Me, I don't know. I will see you in the next clip. Well, you can hear me but I need to rearrange these toys, and I also wanted to tell you about sublimation. So we're gonna multitask before bedtime. So I did finish reading Sublimation earlier this afternoon. I meant to update you guys about the book before I went to the library because it was a library book that I was borrowing, and I was taking it back, and I wanted to have the physical book to pulled up instead of having to edit a card in, but here we are. Life is life. I already took the book back this afternoon. Things were kind of just a little bit hectic, so I completely forgot to do an update or anything. I stayed up pretty late last night to finish Sublimation. And by late, I do mean 4 a.m. and then I still ended up not finishing it. And I really wanted to finish it. I wanted to finish it so freaking bad last night, but I just couldn't. I couldn't keep my eyes open anymore. And so I got to like the last 60-ish pages, I think. My cat is trying to break in this room. He's not allowed in here. So I don't really know how I feel about it, and I think that's kind of why I'm like hesitant to talk about it. I still haven't decided what my rating is going to be. Maybe this will work a little bit better so I can kind of look at you sometimes. I mean, I'm trying to get this stuff cleaned up, and I don't want the camera or anything to be in the way, or my phone rather, to be in the way, but at the same time, I'm trying to tell you a story here. And I think that's part of like why I'm a little bit hesitant to give an update on it. It's like, what am I even rating it? Do I think the book was good? Yes, it was great, especially for a debut. Like, I didn't realize that this was her debut novel. I think it was a pretty good book. Personally, I feel like the writing was great. And listen, I am always so grateful that I'm an audiobook listener because I think sometimes when you just physically read a book, you miss out on things that are going on in the audiobook because this is a prime example. Like, two books that come to mind is this book and also My Husband's Wife was amazingly produced. But this book also does something kind of weird towards the end. I think it starts in part 3 or 4. It starts doing something kind of weird. And like it's represented in the book, but you're not going to get the same effect unless you're listening to the audiobook. So I would highly recommend the audiobook for this one. It was just great. The audiobook was phenomenal in my opinion, and I read the physical along with the audiobook, and it was just a really great time. Now, I think I don't want to say that the book bit off more than it could chew. Like, it is a huge premise, this big idea of immigrating and creating an instance where you basically split into two separate people. Like, not even basically, literally, that's what is going on. So anytime you cross a border, you are, and then there's other situations where people or children instance, but this is like the big one that we're focusing on is when you cross a border, one of you stays in your home country and the other of you goes on to your new country. So in this case, we're looking at South Korea and the US. And there is a lot of commentary on like current immigration issues that we're having, and like not even necessarily like political talking points, but just various opinions on immigration. And it's very transparent that we're talking about like, yeah, we're in this made up place where this has always been what's happening. You've always had an instance if you go into another country. There's, it doesn't really exist that you don't separate, but it's also very transparent that we are discussing the trials and tribulations that are going on with immigration today in our world. I kind of touched on that in my first update when I was originally talking about this. And there's all sorts of different opinions represented in this book. So I will say in that aspect, it is pretty well rounded. Obviously, it's very clear which side you're supposed to align with. It's very heavy handed with that, I would say. It's really trying to drive a point home, but there are other things happening as well and other conversations that it's like, especially once we get to parts 4 and 5, there are things that it's like that come up that are very interesting. One of the reasons why I enjoyed like leading up to the end is because it does call into question this conflict of doing the right thing, and it also like doing the right thing for the majority or doing the right thing for yourself. And those two things are not always going to align, and we do have that point of resistance. There is also a very heavy-handed point of not trusting the government, and anytime we're talking about not trusting the government, sign me up. Sign me up, because I don't trust the government. And the book calls into question trusting the government for life-altering decisions and what it means to put that in the hands of government officials, like what the pros and cons of that are versus what the pros and cons are of things not having safeguards and being available to the public and anyone being able to do certain things. And on one hand, it's like, okay, but is this actually safe for people to be able to make their own decision? And what will people do with that? And would somebody weaponize it? And there's all these other questions that this one decision opens up to. But at the crux of it, it really is, do you trust the government enough to keep you safe? Do you think the government should be in charge of your safety, of your well-being, of protecting you and the population at large? Or should the government be doing what the government is supposed to do, and you should be in charge of your personal safety, and the community should be in charge of its safety, and these decisions should be left up to the individual? So I felt like that was a really strong point and interesting question to pose in a book. And I kind of feel like maybe I just needed to talk it out, because the more I think about it, the more I talk about it, the more I think it's going to be like a 4.5 or a 5-star, because the book was good. It was so well written. I would say it was pretty good pacing wise. The beginning was a little bit slow, and it's kind of like, okay, what are we doing here? Like, when are we going to get to the point? When are we going to get to, like, what's going on? Because it's a lot of mundanity. Even though there are things happening, there are things being revealed, things going on, there's still, like, just regular routine of things. And so it leaves you wondering, like, okay, when is it going to get weird, basically? Anytime I'm reading a sci-fi book, that's always my question. When is it going to get weird? What I mean, granted, we're already kind of starting off with it being weird, because it is about splitting in two when you immigrate. Like, that's a very interesting concept. All in all, I think it's going to be a 4.5. It's just not that 5-star feeling for me. I can't put I can't quite put my finger on why it's not a 5-star, but it's just not. It's not a 5-star. I will say the pacing, it did suffer a little bit, especially in the beginning. Like I said, it kind of takes a little bit to really get going, and there are some slow points here and there. But aside from that, I thought it was really good. I loved the writing. I loved the audiobook. The audiobook was fantastic. Highly recommend immersive reading if you can, or just get the audiobook. It is very easy to follow. There's a lot going on in this book. Like, even though it's really just about immigration and like that is the meat of the story, but there are so many other things happening in the story as well. And if you like something that's a little bit more complex and really makes you think, like, not just about the question at hand, but all of the little brackets, all of the the offshoots that are going to come from this decision, this one decision. I love a book like that, where it's like you make a choice, and then because of that choice, now you have these options, and then you make a choice, and that choice leads you to these options. Like, this is that kind of book, and it was very interesting to me. Honestly, I wish that I had bought it. I tried to get it from Aardvark, but for whatever reason, I didn't. Like, I put it in my bag for my box, and then I never checked out. What am I doing? So they sold out. So I didn't get the Aardvark copy, and I'm very sad about it. So at some point, I'm gonna get a copy of this book, because I really liked it. It was really good. It was a great book. Would highly recommend. It's weird. Like I said, there's a lot of tie into what we're dealing with currently in the world, but it's good. It's a good book. I would recommend it. Definitely go into it knowing that it depending on how you take it, it could be a bit of a heavier book, but it was good. Like I said, I'm pretty sure I'm going to give it 4.5, if not 4.75. It's just not 5 stars. It's just not 5 stars. So I have some books on my Libby that are going to go back soon. That one is just an audiobook. I think it's like a 2-hour audiobook, so I might try to get that listened to tonight. I picked up volume 7 of Sign of Affection. Today we went to the library earlier today, which I will have put in like some little clips or whatever. And like I said, I returned my sublimation copy and I picked up a few other books. I want to get the manga read because it's going to be like quick and easy. I have, I think, one less stop I need to read within the next day or so that I can both return the library book and also my Libby is going to expire for that one. So that's probably what I'm going to be reading next. And hopefully I will check in with you before I finish, like one last stop or whatever novel I decide to read. As for A Sign of Affection, it's like, I know I haven't really talked about it on here, but it's book 7 or volume 7 in this series at this point, and I kind of feel like it's too late to talk about it. I will see you guys in the next update. Hey, hi, hello, it's me again. I have to update you really quickly because I have some brownies in the oven and they are going to be done very soon, so I can't yap too long. All that to say, I have not started this book yet. I'm going to start it tonight because I have 2 days left on the audiobook on Libby and I have to get this read because I don't know if I'm going to be able to. I know I can't renew it right now, and I think I have to wait or I have to put it on hold, and then this is going to have to go back to the library. So this is a situation of my own making, but here we are. I am going to start this tonight, okay? I am going to do it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to get it read and hopefully finished by tomorrow because there's another book that I want to read before it needs to go back. Anyway, that does not mean that I did not read something today. I actually finished 2 books today. The first one is This Thing Between Us by, I can't remember, it'll be here. Weird. So weird. This has been on my TBR for a little while, and I finally got around to borrowing it. I actually borrowed the audiobook and the ebook, although I didn't spend a ton of time in the ebook because I actually was listening to it while I was like doing other things, doing other tasks and stuff, since it was a pretty short one. I would listen to it in the shower. I also listened to it like while I was doing some cleaning and some admin work for Instagram and checking emails and stuff like that. It was very weird. I ended up giving it 4 stars. I think it's like a 4.25 if I'm totally honest. It wasn't a full 5 stars. I don't know. It just didn't hit as hard as I was hoping. But it is a very interesting story about grief and loss and tragedy and like just basically like what happens after and what happens to the people after and just the things that, someone can go through when grief is all consuming and, you know, family and generational trauma and all of these things. Basically, the story starts out with a man named Diego and he has just lost his wife. She doesn't die initially after the accident. She dies in the hospital. Basically, the story opens up with her funeral, and from there, we get little snippets into their relationship and also into what happened to her and what he is going through afterwards. It's a very interesting story about grief. There's a lot of grotesque things going on, and it was a good time, I would say. I mean, it was kind of very sad, but still it's the kind of like weird horror, grief horror that I personally enjoy. So I would recommend it. I'm not sure who I would recommend it to, but I would well, actually no. If you like, I can't necessarily say that it's like a Black Mirror episode, but I would say it's along those lines. So maybe if you like Black Mirror, you might like this. Then the other book that I finished is A Plagued Sea, and weird. It was weird. I actually got this as an ALC. It was just weird. I believe it takes place in Korea or Japan. And it's like this illness that kind of appears and only affects really this one island, and the whole island ends up being quarantined, and like 3 years passes. We are seeing the effects of this virus or bacterial infection, whatever it is. It's not really like what it actually is not necessarily the focus of what's going on. So that's not really explained that much. There's a lot of theories and conspiracies about what it is and how it came about, but that's not like, to be honest, do I know what this was about? No, and it is translated, so I'm not sure if there were some things lost in translation or if there's like just stuff that we're not privy to, because a lot of times in Asian stories there's Asian folklore that is just known, and so that is not expanded upon, it's not explained, and to someone who has lived in that culture it makes complete sense, these unsaid things. But to those of us who do not live in that culture or were not brought up with those stories, it there's almost like something missing, and I kind of feel like maybe that's this. I'm not totally sure. It was a little bit slow. It didn't really like keep my attention the whole time, I'm going to be honest. So I have not even decided what the rating for this one is going to be. It's not going to be more than a 3 star, unfortunately. But I don't know. I'm thinking it's going to clock in like maybe around a 2.5, just because it was kind of weird. The ending is kind of like uh, because there's an ending and then there's like a little excerpt from like a letter or something. So like the actual ending of the story is just kind of like okay, and then the ending of the book itself is just kind of like all right. Like I don't know. To me, it's not. I wanted it to be a great horror creepy time, but it's mostly body horror. It's not really, and that for me, body horror and grotesqueness, like no matter how grotesque something is, that is not scary. That is not horror in the way that it doesn't terrify me. It's not scary. It's gross, it's horrific, but it's not a scary situation. Now there are a few like kind of jump scares or scary parts or whatever, but on like the scary scale, this would be like a 2, maybe a 3. So I think I'm gonna end up rating this like a 2.5 or a 3, like I said. Um, it is what it is. I don't know who this would be for. It's kind of like I said, very slow moving story, and it is very short. The audiobook was less than 3 hours long, so I can't imagine it's a very long novella. But yeah, so I did finish both of those books today. And then, like I said, hopefully I'm going to get at least halfway through One Last Stop before I go to bed tonight and wrap that one up tomorrow. And hopefully I will also check in with you guys tomorrow if I remember. That'll probably be the last book I read for this vlog. So I will see you guys in the next update. So really quickly, I wanted to do a little update because last night I started One Last Stop. And so far it's going really good. I'm going to have to look at the synopsis because I read it a while ago and I knew that I was interested in it and I wanted to read it. But now there's like this element to it that I didn't think that it was about, and not in a bad way. I'm still like, honestly, if anything, it makes it a little bit more interesting to me. But I didn't realize that it was going to be this, and I'm wondering if I either missed it in the synopsis or didn't read it to begin with. So I am a little less than halfway through the book at this point. I'm only on chapter 8, and I will say the chapters are super long because I'm almost 200 pages into the book and I'm only on chapter 8. I don't know. To me, the chapters are too long. That's my only complaint is like the chapters are so freaking long. But so far, so good. I'm really enjoying pretty much everybody. Obviously, our main character is August, so we're spending the most time with her and our girl on the train, Jane. And I don't love all of the decisions that August makes, but I'm hoping that like there's going to be some growth there. At some point, hopefully. And there's like this little mystery element, like something is going on that we're trying to figure out. So I am pretty intrigued by it. And yeah, so far so good. I need to finish it today because the Libby is going to be going back probably this evening. I'm not sure. I haven't logged in today to see how many hours I have left because last night it was 1 day. So it's probably going to tell me like I have such and such amount of hours left. But yeah, I just want to get back to it. I just want to finish it. I also went ahead and picked up A Sign of Affection Volume 7. I don't know if I showed you guys that I picked it up from the library the other day, but I did. And I'm almost finished with it. I'm on the last chapter of that one as well. And so I think I'm going to take a break from reading that and try to finish up One Last Stop. And I also feel like this book is going to make me cry. There have been points where I'm kind of like a little bit sad already. So, but I hope it's going to be like good, like cathartic. I feel like I could use a good cry, especially when it comes to a book or a movie. And I just haven't had that like hitting yet. So hopefully this will be that. And in the end, I'll want to buy a physical copy of this book. I am pretty, I wouldn't say I'm like completely invested. Like if the book were to be over now, I probably wouldn't buy a physical copy, but I'm hoping that since I still have like a little more than halfway of the book, like a little more than 50% of the book, that it's going to get even better. Yeah, I don't want to say too much right now because I haven't read the synopsis recently and I don't want to spoil anything or give anything away. So in my next update, hopefully I'll have the book with me and be able to spend a little bit more time chatting. But yeah, so I'll see you in my next update. Good morning. I am coming on here to wrap up this video and let you know that I have finished One Last Stop. Ultimately, I gave this 4 stars. It was really good. It was really cute and sweet, and I had a good time with it. I liked that there was a little mystery about it. I liked that there was a little bit of a conflict. I will say, so when I checked in earlier, I wasn't sure how much was in the synopsis. Um, and what I was going to talk about was the fact that Jane, who is the love interest, is stuck in like a time loop. So she is on the queue line when August meets her, and August quickly realizes that she's only on the queue line. So we find out that she is stuck like in a glitch basically from the 70s, and this becomes August trying to get her unstuck and hoping that she will remain in our time period, but knowing that she may not. And it goes from there. And it's a really sweet story about August getting to know Jane. Simultaneously, there are other things going on in Jane's life. They're not listed in the synopsis, so I don't want to give away too much. But she has a couple of other things that are happening that are also kind of detrimental. What is my hair doing? Just ignore that. I don't know what it's doing. Anyway, the main focus of the story obviously is her and Jane, and her trying to get Jane off of the queue line because at the end of the summer, the queue is going to be shut down for repairs. So she is worried that if Jane is still on the line, still stuck in this time loop, that when they shut it down for however long for repairs, that she's actually going to disappear anyway. This whole thing is about her trying to help Jane remember who she is, remember her life, and hopefully figure out a way to get her off the queue line. So it's not a 5-star. I would say it's like a 4.25, maybe even a 4.5, but I feel more comfortable with being a 4.25. Just because I wanted more. I wanted it to hurt. Like, I was so hoping for more, like, conflict and more, like, hard-hitting events. I don't know. I was just really hoping to cry with this one, and I didn't even really get teary-eyed. So that was a bummer. It was not as hard-hitting as I had hoped, but it was still a good book. I don't know if I will buy this one or not. Maybe if I can find it for a good deal on Pango, but I'm not going to go out of my way to buy it. It was still good nonetheless, and I'm happy that I read it. Like I said, I had a really good time with it. It had a little mystery element, which was great, and some conflicts to overcome, but I also felt like there wasn't enough conflict, especially with the main relationship. But yeah, so that's that on that. I also finished up A Sign of Affection Volume 7, And I can't really tell you guys much about this specific volume because, like I said, it's number 7, so we are pretty far into the series. I will say A Sign of Affection is a really sweet, very wholesome manga. I don't think I've talked about it on here because I read the majority of it in May and I wasn't really filming anything at the time. So it is, our main character Yuki is deaf, and there is a lot of sign language in the book, like sign language, Japanese sign language depicted, and it's really sweet. It's a story between Yuki and Itsuomi. I think that's how you say his name, Itsu, and it's about like their relationship and how, I don't even know. Like, it's just so sweet. She also has a friend named Renchan, which she's such a sweetheart too, and we're like getting updates about her life. She has another friend named Uishi, and he's like in love with her, and that's quickly obvious, especially when Itsu comes into the picture. But all of these things, like, I don't even know. It's just so sweet. It's so wholesome. The way Itsu treats Yuki, the way he talks about her, the way he talks to her, it's just in an ideal world, right? He is absolutely a sweetheart. She is a sweetheart. She's so kind and motivated, and I don't know. It's just, it's such a wholesome little manga, and I am just having a wonderful time with it. I do need to put the next few volumes on hold at my library. Hopefully they are available. Hopefully my library has them, because this one did leave me on a cliffhanger. So that's going to do it for this video. I am hopefully going to have a couple more videos for you coming up very soon. I have, like I said at the beginning of the video, I do have my May reading journal stuff. I'm gonna go ahead and combine that with my June, possibly my July, since we are about 3 days out from the end of June. Although I don't like to cut off my reading before the last day, because you never know how many books more you're going to read, and I read up until the very last day of the month. Hopefully I will have that out at the beginning of July, and then I have another vlog that I would like to film that I need to read for in the next 3 days, because it has to do with some time sensitive things. So that's going to do it for me. That's going to do it for this video, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, please leave a comment, like, subscribe, all the things. If you made it this far and you don't know what to leave, just leave a hibiscus emoji or any other flower emoji so I know you were here and you made it to the end. Thanks again for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.